When we were on Bike for Bibles rides, we had detailed maps for the travels for each day. As the vehicle at the back of a group of riders, I had good signs and flashing lights on my car and trailer, and room to put the bikes on the roof if a rider became injured or just too tired. However, the good news was I didn't have to use the maps much at all. I just followed the riders. One day this didn't work. They took a wrong turn and found a big downhill, and off they went. They were very disappointed when I caught up at the bottom of the hill and they found out that they had to go back up the hill. Today's reading about the men on the road to Emmaus is a little bit like that, but they weren't on their bikes. They were, however, going the wrong way. This Bible story about Jesus meeting the men on the road following his resurrection has had such an impact on people that there is a famous program called the Emmaus Walk. Participants are invited to take a walk to Emmaus during the program and seek and gain spiritual renewal, to be encouraged as Christ's disciples and to model themselves on Jesus' servanthood. Let us, in a symbolical manner, as we are spread out today, all in our own homes, share with these two men on their way to Emmaus. You won't need your walking shoes or water bottle, but following on from the message last week about Thomas coming face to face with the risen Jesus, you might need a little time to reflect on things and look to how you will respond as you walk this imaginary road with me today. Initially, I can identify a little with them. They had been there. They were not the inner circle of Christ's disciples, but they were very close and had followed Jesus during the last week. Their faces were downcast. They were trying to work out what had happened. Their expectations were shattered. Sometimes we find ourselves in such a predicament. We learn about something and then it goes all pear-shaped and our expectations are shattered. We are left feeling stranded, perhaps out of our depth and really disappointed. We thought we knew what was happening and how it was going to work out, and we were wrong. For these men, it was the worst-case scenario. They had enough knowledge about Jesus and great hopes. These things they knew. They knew he was Jesus of Nazareth. They considered him a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. So they had perhaps heard him speaking and knew of his deeds. They had hopes for him based on the writings of the prophets that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. They knew about the crucifixion. They even knew about the women who visited the tomb and found it empty. They even were able to tell the stranger about the vision the women had, that some angels had told them that Jesus was alive. Yet here they were, heading sadly off to Emmaus. The dream was over. But like my Bible riders in the beginning story, they were going in the wrong direction. The glorious party, the majesty of the resurrection, the visits to the disciples and so many more people were only just about to start. You see, like many a jigsaw puzzle, they had put lots and lots of pieces together, and the pieces were becoming clearer, but they were just missing the last few pieces. Could you blame them? This reminds me of the Bible story about Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8, 26 to 40. This man was riding along in his chariot reading, and Philip was sent by an angel to meet with the man. Philip asked him, "Do you understand what you are reading?" as the man read from Isaiah. His reply was, "How can I unless someone guides me." Philip proceeded to teach him and told him the good news about Jesus. Like the two men on the road to Emmaus, we have a man seeking to learn but not having all the last pieces of the jigsaw together. Philip did that for the Ethiopian, and Jesus did that for the men on the road to Emmaus. I want to digress for a moment, as this story seems mostly about the two men. But let us consider for a moment the story from the perspective of Jesus. Jesus, the crucified and resurrected Jesus, made a decision to be with these two men on the lonely road. We cannot read the mind of Jesus, but this decision so aligned with his lifestyle and choices, even in his darkest times. He cared about his people. Jesus loved them, and his heart must have gone out to them, as it did with the 11 disciples. He made the decision to appear with them on the road and took the opportunity to teach them. What a blessing they had. Then they returned the blessing by inviting Jesus to stay with them and share a meal. It was at the meal, as Jesus broke the bread, that they realised he was the risen Jesus. After he left, they returned to Jerusalem to share the news with Jesus' disciples. A lovely summary comment of this passage from James L. Rasonge states, "The impediments to spiritual formation, disappointment, foolishness, mirthless trudging and slowness of heart are abandoned on this journey, and the disciples' eyes are opened to God's working ways in this world." So as we come to the end of the sermon, we should ask ourselves the question, what messages do I take from this reflection? Well, you can write or email me your homework responses. However, for those who want the easy ways out, I want to suggest that there was 5, but it's now become 6 points, because last night I added one more. Point number 1, don't be going the wrong way. Number 2, it's okay to be sad for a little while. Number 3, the men on the road to Emmaus were not looking for Jesus. He came to them, knowing they were sad and bewildered. He met them at their need. Point number 4, listen to good teaching about the Bible and life in Christ. Point number 5, share hospitality. And finally, point number 6, proclaim the good news. Thank you.